Jolie mia jolie amina, jolie malima jolie alima, jolie alima jolie alima. When I put my name in it, it's a little bit of a tongue twister. But if you don't know that song, it's a song by Ariel Shoni. He's an Ivorian artist. So the song is, I think it's called Jolie Amina, but I added my name, so it's a tongue twister. If y'all don't know, Jolie means pretty in French. Shout out to my Gambian flag in the back. My Liberian flag is in my daughter's room, so we rep in both countries. So never get it twisted. Maybe I'll record in her room next time. I'm the host, Salima. If you don't know, this is the latest updates of positive content news. It's a more low key vibe. It's actually close to 1 a.m. here on the eastern side of the United States, but I really wanted to do these updates so that I could have it edited and up before Christmas. Merry Christmas if you celebrate. Happy holiday if you celebrate. Whatever. Happy summer solstice for those of you in the southern hemisphere. Winter solstice is starting here in the northern hemisphere. Joyeux Noel. Feliz Navidad. So we're about to get into the latest updates. Stay tuned. I'm scaling this down because I got to get these out to y'all more often. Let's get into these updates. So, there's a new face of Nike who happens to be a Zambian. His name is Malenga Banda. He is the face of Nike, and he actually was discovered in Lusaka, which is the capital of Zambia, near a kiosk. There's no information if he actually was working there, but there was a person who worked for Nike. You can say almost like a scout. I don't want to really say that though, but happened to notice his style and his presence. And now, what they will call here in the United States, he fine shit. He's the face of Nike. So I always have my sources down in my comment section. Make sure you hit that comment section so you could read, not the comments, I'm sorry, the description, so that you can read more about the story, how a Zambian is now the face of Nike, aka fine shit for all the younger girls out there. A little bit too young for me, but yeah, just want to let you know, Lusaka got some good looking people, some models out there. So shout out to Malenga. Okay, so South Africa has classified violence or gender based violence against women a national disaster. And what they did was they withdrew from the economy for 1 day. So they observed 16 days of activism against gender based violence from November 25th to December 10th. And South Africa, unfortunately, has one of the world's highest levels of violence against women and girls. Like I mentioned before, it's classified as a national disaster now. So, with it being now classified as a national disaster, and I'm going to read verbatim from the president's desk. The classification will allow for expanded access to shelters, safe spaces, psychosocial counseling, and community based prevention programs. It will enable faster emergency resource allocation for survivor services, enhance monitoring and reporting mechanism, and strengthen oversight. Um, I ain't gonna lie to y'all. Right now, I cannot remember at this very moment the president's name. It's late, and I typically record earlier in the day. But it's not Malema. One moment, let me just go ahead and Google. I have a little brain fog. We keeping it a buck over here. Ramaphosa. It's coming to me now. I didn't even finish typing this in the search engine. President Cyril Ramaphosa. I apologize to the South Africans. Um, yeah, that is his name. So this was straight from his desk. And I just want to also add that gender based violence also affects males and boys. So, though it is more common to be afflicted onto women, we don't want to forget the boys and men that this happens to as well. But now that this is declared a national disaster, there's more resources that are going to be driven for this sector of people that's affected. Unfortunately, this has a lot to do with social economic status as well, culture, global misogyny, global, hate against women is misogyny, right? So yeah, I just wanted to bring attention to that, and I think it's cool that they're trying to do something about this. There's many countries globally that suffer from the pandemic of sexism and misogyny, and it manifests in different ways, specifically in gender-based violence. This next story is coming out of Nigeria. This is actually about a 3-year-old story, but I feel like it's really cool, and a lot of people haven't really caught on to this story, so I wanted to bring it up. You're going to be meeting here. There's going to be a picture inserted somewhere here. Emife. That is the short name. I will add the long name somewhere on this page. And she's the continent's first humanoid built in Nigeria by a group of companies called Unicon. All right. So she speaks 8 languages, which with their native accents. Let me add French, English, Kiswahili, which is spoken in Tanzania and Kenya, mainly, probably some other surrounding countries. Arabic, which is spoken mostly on the northern part of the continent, and Wazobia. This is my first time hearing what this was. So what Wazobia is Yoruba, Hausa, and Igbo. Those are the 3 major ethnic groups or biggest ethnic groups in Nigeria. Yoruba is spoken in southern Nigeria and Benin. Hausa is speaking in northern Nigeria and probably Niger. And Igbo is speaking in eastern Nigeria and southeastern Nigeria and parts of Cameroon. Also Afrikaans, which is a South African dialect. So those are the 8 languages that it speaks. She's 6 foot tall. I would love to know why they made her so tall. So I'm going to read. I feel like this is important that you all hear these words directly from Unicon. Amife is programmed to grasp a deep understanding of the various African cultures as well as behavioral patterns, something which has impressed many people from around the world who have continued to give it a thumbs up. So let me tell you what makes Amife very special, being a robot. She grasps tones. She's tonal. Many languages on the continent are tonal. An example that I know of is Chi from Ghana. She's very expressive with the gestures. That's, we like talking with our hands. It's incorporated in many cultures and languages. She has a stable stance. When she's standing, she is very kind. So kids can be around her. She has GPS on top of that. So they're finalizing mass production. This was as of 3 years ago. So this is going to be probably about 30,000 for someone to purchase. What do y'all think about this? The picture here is a 3-year-old picture. So I'm hoping that there's going to be some. We're not expecting her to look human, and we don't want her to look completely human. Maybe some little touch-ups with her things like her hair and her, skin and things like that. What do y'all think about having a robot in your home? Some people might be for it, some people might be against it, but the fact that she can capture these languages and in the right tones and expressions and in their native accents is mind blowing. I came across an awesome story that made me happy. So this story is about a student from Drexel University. This is a college in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, in the United States. Her name is Amina Ibrahim, and she is Sudanese. So what she is doing is she's doing henna. She does henna on people, and I've talked about this in a previous video, so I'm going to link the video with the sources in the description about how Sudanese have claimed henna to come from them, and guess what? I believe them. So what she has done is she has family that are victims of the war in Sudan, which I also talked about a couple years ago, and I'm happy that they're finally getting the global level. They needed the global exposure about the war happening in Sudan, because this has happened 3 times already, and hashtag all wars matter. Hashtag all wars matter. Every war needs exposure globally. So they're starting to get their just due, and I'm happy, and I'm going to continue to talk about their war and other wars that are not getting the global exposure that they deserve as a child, as a person who's had families that have been in civil war that barely got any, and this was a different time. I get it. Social media wasn't as big. That barely gets any exposure. This is so imperative to me, and I'm so passionate about this because it's ugly when you see it up close. And I wasn't even in the physical war, but when you see how it lands on people, it's ugly. And that's something that we need to talk about more. And mental health in relation to being a refugee and being in civil wars. That's a whole nother topic. We get into that. And then being a refugee in another country and having to start life over like nothing happened, right? And just get a job. It doesn't work like that. You need a whole mental and soul reset, in my opinion. Okay, so what she does, back to the story, is that she has different events on campus or around in which she does traditional henna and jagua ink, which is an ink from a sacred fruit. And she informally teaches people about what is happening in the war, how it came about as she's doing the henna on them. So this is very intimate. This is an intimate conversation. And not only is she making something beautiful from her culture on these people, but she's sharing what she's going through to educate people. Um, so it's basically informal teachings about the war. She hosts these events. She's partnered with Drexel's Muslim Student Association, the African Student Association, and other campus organizations to create fundraising events centered around henna. I'm reading this verbatim. That's what she's doing. She's also raised finances for Sudan and Congo DRC. That's another love of mine. If you know my repertoire previously, you know I love Congo. And if I have to explain it, I love Congo because they're the heart of the continent. And I do not believe that the continent will do well or strive without freeing Congo. And they've been at war probably the longest because they're so rich in natural resources. They're so talented. I love their music, and I will not stop talking about Congo. That is one of my favorite cultures, if not on the continent, besides my own. I'm sorry, I always vote for the underdog. That's just, call me being biased. That's how I feel because other countries I felt like have looked down on that group of people. And let's dive out. It's nighttime now, so I'm getting more intimate with what I want to talk about. And I'm going to say from my own experience, people from the continent, they have such negative things to say about people, other countries that have been in civil war. But it's funny until I have a saying that I say, it's funny until it happens to you. So you can judge these people. They did this, they're refugees, until it happens to your people. Not saying that I'm wishing bad, but it's the truth. Until your own people go in war and be refugees, then you will know how it feels for people to have to build from scraps. I'm not even going to get into how other powers have come into play and influence these wars from the West and whoever else is benefiting from them, but if benefiting from the war. I'm really annoyed, low key, because I think my speech is being affected by like a procedure that I got on my lips some years ago. And sorry if I'm slurring or I'm like messing up my words. And especially I noticed that when I come on camera, it happens a lot more. So I don't know if it's nervousness. So she is on campus building this awareness that often of global crisis that often get ignored, especially when it comes to the continents. So hashtag all wars matter. Use it. Use it on when you're talking about different wars on your platforms. It needs to be amplified. When you're on your social medias, all wars matter. Not just one war or two wars in Europe or in the Middle East. No disrespect. Every war needs to be amplified. Okay? Because this is associated with racism. When you feel like one body is not equal in value to another due to the origin and or skin tone, whatever, or the continent that they're on. But Amina Ibrahim, shout out to you. You're doing wonderful, darling. And I would love if you could reach out to me. I definitely am going to be looking into my local community, what I can do to help amplify this, because I'm really passionate about this. Like, until you witness it or you're close to something like this, it's horrible to experience, really. In the past, I've talked about Mali a lot, what's going on in the Sahel states. Mali is one of them. So they announced, their president, General Assimi Guata, announced that children will no longer be studying French history. So basically, grade 9 students and I guess on up will no longer study the French Revolution or French history in schools. Some who might not know might be like, why are they doing that? Well, they're doing that because they were colonized by France. That's just colonization for you, okay? The capturer, the conqueror puts their history in place and they tell the story. It doesn't mean that it's true, but that's how colonization has worked on the continent and around the world. But I know some people be like, why are they learning French? They Malian. That's why. Um, so this is a part of their educational reform, and I'm capturing what's on the article that I read. Their curriculum was center Malian in African history, ensuring students learn more about the ancient empires of Mali, Ghana, and Songhai, the region's pre-colonial governance system, and its intellectual heritage rooted in cities like Timbuktu. And this is so needed, and this is so important. As a child of the Sahel, as someone who has history in this region of the continent, this is so important because this is one of the richest cultures throughout the world and the continent that doesn't get talked about enough. These people need to know, and this is how colonization worked. Some people don't get it when you're immersed in it, when you grow in certain things closer to the continent, unless you really travel and or studied. You know that these people don't even know who they are. Yeah, people might know their ethnic groups. Some people here on this side of the world in the diaspora, oh, you're so lucky. You know your ethnic group. It doesn't matter if you don't know who you are still. And that's how colonization works there. That's how white supremacy has worked over there. Yeah, people know their ethnic groups, but they still don't know who they are. Okay? I can go deeper in that in another video. Just let me know and we can talk about the variations of how, colonization on the continent versus in the diaspora. But that's just how it works. If you're being taught and force fed someone else's history, you really don't know unless you have an ancestor in your family that really has kept that knowledge and maybe kept artifacts to really describe. Because remember, this is post-colonial Abrahamic religions also placed onto these people, Islam, Christianity. So there's a lot at play here with how people mind is centered versus pre-colonial indigenous, religions and thinking, etc. But anyway, overall, I like it. I love it. Keep it up, Molly. I love it. Because when you know about yourself, you can teach all of us out in the diaspora. So these were quicker updates, or what I think. I know I kind of went on a much needed tangent, I feel, but I want to talk about something that I'm noticing. Blame my Aquarius moon if you're into this stuff. So I'm noticing something and I'm about to nip it or nail it, wherever you want to call it, nip it in the bud. They're starting, I feel like, to be, because people may or may not know, and I said this years ago, Africa is the future. The continent is the future. The largest, youngest population globally, right? Planting seeds. Okay. It's important that we do that, those of us who have the rightful claim or whatever. So I'm starting to see a mixed representation of the continent. Y'all not going to do that. There's mixed race people there. They've been there for centuries, okay? Due to colonization, due to indigenous servitude, traveling, whatever, migration. What y'all not going to sit here and do is make a mixed representation of people on the continent and sell it, because I've seen it happen here in the West with specifically Black people. I went from seeing more Black people that looked like me growing up to less and less. Them looking more mixed in R&B and hip hop. It's almost going completely white. If we didn't have the video footage and the photos and weren't a witness to this ourselves, it would have been force fed to us that another group of people created this, right? The genre, the subculture of hip hop and whatever's relating to it. So let me just say this. South Africa has some fire talent. Chle is one of my favorite artists from there. So many amazing, talented people that are making music, okay? Ghana has Amare amongst many other, and I'm looking specifically at the female representation. And I'm seeing people that's looking more mixed whose music is not of the same quality. That's my opinion. They might have good production, maybe they have good writers, but the overall natural talent is not there. And these other people that I just named, Amare and Schley, are marketable, okay? And they're not getting the play that they deserve. Y'all are not going to do that here or there. Y'all are not going to market a continent that fits a narrative closer to you. And I'm somebody. They would say here in the United States, I'm a music head. I'm a music connoisseur. I do not play about my music. I don't do mediocre music of any kind. Some people are able to do it. I don't. I don't do mediocre music of any kind. You ask me what if somebody said, "Do you like Cardi B or Nicki Minaj?" I'm gonna say it depends for what. If it comes to conversation, joking, personality, I'll take Cardi. Me and her both Libras. But when it comes to the music in itself, I'm gonna take Nicki every time because I love quality music, and I feel like, especially here in the United States, that has kind of dwindled as far as mainstream music. I don't think a lot of it's good from what I've heard. Just me telling the truth as somebody who grew up listening to quality music here in America, and I also listen to a lot of global music happening now, and the quality is not the same. It's ce n'est pas match. It's not a match. So I just want to let that be known that you're not going to sit here and represent the women from the continent to be mixed when they look like me. That's not what you're going to do. And bring mediocrity to the front screen and make it seem like yeah, let them have their thing going on. Yes, people do need to know there's mixed race people on the continent, but you're not going to market them as the main players of this music when we got people who've been doing it for a long time. We already know that music pretty much started on the continent. It did. But you're not going to start marketing certain people to make it seem like they're the front run. Nah. Check out, go in your repertoires or go start researching people, and you're going to see there's some incredible fully Black artists from the continent making quality music. Yes, everybody needs shine, but it's weird how y'all doing this globe. Amare was like the hottest thing coming out of Ghana as far as like her music is actually fire. What is going on here? And then you have another person whose music is mediocre, but she is being marketed and she's selling because she's a lighter skin tone and mixed race from her country. Same thing with South Africa. It's a no. You're not about to do that over here. So, this is the latest updates here. Like I said, I was about to start I'm going to share my thoughts more. Hey, it is what it is. So, like, share, subscribe. Definitely leave your comments. If you want to do a little feedback, all the sources will be in the description. My PayPal is there if you want to donate to enhancing this channel. For me to upgrade, equipment, travel, expenses, etc. Because we heading to the continent very soon. So yeah, I'll see you all soon. Let me see. There's something else I wanted to say. I can't remember. It's late, but I'm glad I'm able to do this video and get it out to you all. And yeah, stay tuned for more updates coming soon. We're here. All right, so I will do my best to get a video out before the new Gregorian year, which is January 1st. Okay. I think that's it. All right, you take care, community. You take care, village. All right. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell because these updates are ringing true.